Final Fantasy 16 has been banned in Saudi Arabia. Square Enix was unwilling to make required changes, rating board claims. In a post on the official Twitter account for its video game division on Wednesday, the General Commission for Audiovisual Media stated that the game had not been cleared for release in the country. According to the message, the game has been banned because it contains unacceptable content that Square Enix refused to change. For Final Fantasy 16, we would like to clarify that this has not been released in the kingdom due to the publisher's unwillingness to make the necessary modifications, the tweet reads. Earlier in the week, the board's general supervisor for video games, Hatan Tawili, had tweeted about the situation without explicitly naming the game. Unfortunately, after all our attempts over the past 8 months without any success, one of the most important and biggest games of the year is on its way to being banned due to the company's complete refusal to modify the content to suit the region, he wrote. Of course, it is clear to the company what happened, but they put it in abundance without reason and refused to modify it. It's not clear exactly which content in the game caused it to be banned, but in February, on the same day a preview embargo for the game was lifted, 3 writers for Saudi website True Gaming posted vague tweets implying an upcoming game had LGBTQ plus content. If they were referring to Final Fantasy 16, this would certainly be considered a cause to ban the game in the region. The ban arrives as Saudi Arabia's public investment fund continues to make a series of investments in the video games industry. Earlier this year, the country became Nintendo's biggest outside investor after increasing its stake in the company to 8.26%. Nintendo has previously claimed that when the PIF bought its initial stake in the company, it was unaware of the transaction, first learned about the Saudi investment from news reports. PIF, which has made a series of investments in the video games industry in recent years, is reportedly central to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's goal of making the Saudi economy less reliant on proceeds from oil. In December of 2020, the fund acquired over $3 billion worth of stock in Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard, FIFA publisher Electronic Arts, and Rockstar's parent company Take-Two. In September of 2022, also said it would invest a further $37.8 billion in games industry acquisitions, including around $13 billion to acquire a leading game publisher. Saudi Arabia officials have said the investments will help modernize the kingdom, but they have come with negative fallout due to the country's highly criticized human rights abuses. Yes. Notably, the Crown Prince has been accused by U.S. intelligence of ordering the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The country is also engaged in a controversial war in Yemen and has historically cracked down on female activists and homosexuality. Yeah. Whenever we found this article this morning before even reading into it, I was pretty sure that this was going to have to do with the game, including some kind of content that went against what the country itself views to be unacceptable, and what this is something that I truly feel we need to be aware of across the gaming community in a country that is very well known to be heavily engaged in discrimination against and persecution of specific demographics of people. They are buying heavily into the gaming industry, right? They outright own SNK, right? SNK as a developer, they outright own that developer, which I don't think was actually annotated in this article. But you can see what else they've heavily invested in. You're talking about Nintendo, Activision Blizzard, Electronic Arts, Take-Two. These are major companies in the industry. And I mean, I don't think it's hard for people to understand and see what has happened with media throughout history and being, certain companies that they can push agenda and propaganda through them and things like that. And so you take a country that is well known for persecution, discrimination, and you see how heavily they're pushing into gaming. And I think it's absolutely vital that we remain vigilant about not letting that kind of stuff happen in the gaming industry, because ultimately it would be one of those situations where, and I'm not saying it necessarily will, but it can. We've seen it happen in media all throughout history, right? Whether it be from books to newspapers to actual news outlets and TV and movies and TV shows, whatever. And the gaming industry is no different. I mean, it's in front of all kinds of people's eyes and allowing a country with these kinds of views to be heavily invested in the entertainment industry and this world that we love of video games, to be pushing these kinds of views and thoughts onto other people, which ultimately come down to suppressing human rights and things like that, is not a good thing. So I would just I want to make sure that people just stay vigilant when things like this are happening. Try to make sure that, because it will start off small. These kind of things, if like with SNK products, it would start small because they outright own that. You know what I mean? So obviously it would start small and then it would gradually increase and become more ingrained in their products, to where they're trying to impress these kinds of views and beliefs and thoughts that really are about repressing people's rights and things of that nature. And I just want us to be very careful when it comes to this kind of thing. Hey, what's up, my friend? How are you? Happy Thursday, friendo. What's going on? So, Final Fantasy 16 is apparently not going to make its way to Saudi Arabia. And look, I'll say this: good on Square Enix and we don't have details yet. But if this is what it comes down to, is that in Final Fantasy 16, if there happens to be some kind of LGBTQ plus content, and they were trying to get them to take it out of the game just so it would be be able to be published in their country, and Sony and Square Enix said no. Square Enix said no, we're not going to do that. And they're just dealing with the fact of it not being published. I mean, good for Square Enix. Good on them.